We on?
Yeah, you're live.
We are live.
Welcome back to the 5 o'clock sports report. My name's Aiden.
I'm Jason.
Uh, Mainly football, right? Unless you want to talk about NBA preseason, which I don't.
Yeah, no, preseason in any sport, man, is not going to be the best. It's not going to be anything to write home about.
Yeah, and I don't know enough about hockey. I wish I did. Or baseball.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, basketball's in preseason. I know the baseball's in their postseason.
I think that the Liberty, the New York's WNBA team, is in the finals right now.
Well,
So I don't know how it's going, but I know that they're in there.
yeah, and I know that the NHL season started, I believe, last week. So be interesting. Be interesting to see all that. I know that I know that the World Series is actually coming up. I'm not really a baseball guy either, but I do know that Philadelphia, the Phillies are going to play in the World Series. I believe they're up
Yeah,
on who they're playing. And I think the two Texas teams are the others. So,
yeah, I think so.
but into the big news, I guess, at least around here, the Jets, despite being massive underdogs, they won. And
Yeah,
they're 500, I believe.
yep.
They're
Back to
500.
500.
Um, so just your thoughts, man. I mean, what a game.
Yeah, it was a good game. Um, really good defensive performance. I think that the Jets defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich is going to get a head coaching job really soon. Um, Offense was okay, not good,
You know
not
what?
really great.
You know what impressed me the most about the Jets is how good your secondary is, even without Gardner and I think Reed's the other corner.
Yeah, those are our two starters.
I mean, your backups are starters on other teams.
I think it's about it's a lot of scheming too. The linebackers were great, especially Quincy Williams and
Mm-hmm.
C.J. Mosley, and then the safety Tony Adams had the game-winning interception.
And I knew like from the start, Philadelphia was 5-0, right, going into that game. But there's just something off about them, and I knew they were getting by on a lot of these like 27-24 type wins. These wins where it's like, yeah, they won, but they haven't really crushed an opponent yet this year. They have a lot of slow halves,
Yeah,
and they ran into a defense that really gave Hurts problems, you know? I mean, he had 3 interceptions, I believe.
yeah, he did. Two of them weren't really his fault. They kind of one of them got knocked out of his hands by uh I think one of them got slapped up by I believe um I actually don't remember who did it. It was a D lineman, I think. Or maybe it was Quincy. But one of them forced an interception that landed into Quinnen's hands. So he got his first interception of his career.
Man, Quinnen Williams is something, man. He's
He hasn't been putting up sacks, but that's because he'd be getting triple teamed every
yeah.
game.
I mean, obviously Aaron Donald's the best. Chris Jones probably number 2, but he's not far behind.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing from Quinnen. A lot of people, I don't know, are wondering why he's not putting up great numbers on the surface level, but I think it's
Oh, and
more than that.
defense. Sorry to cut you off, but defensive tackles too aren't always like big sack people, But if you've got a guy who's creating like a good example, you remember Haloti Nada for the Ravens back in the day?
Yeah,
He was a guy. He'd only put up like 3 sacks a year, but he'd just create so much disruption and stuff that he'd get the other guys going. That's kind of like, even though he hasn't really been that good, that's kind of what Dexter Lawrence does with the Giants. Like last year, he was a beast and he only put up 7 sacks, but he got sacks for everybody else.
yeah.
It's
Uh,
rare you get a Aaron Donald who does that and puts up 20 sacks a year.
Aaron Donald isn't even really like a player. Like he's just above that. Like I wouldn't even. I don't know.
I mean,
I think
Yeah.
I think he's like outside of maybe Rogers. It's questionable. I think he's like easily the biggest lock for the Hall of Fame currently in NFL.
Yeah. But to me, first, thank you for beating the Eagles because it was getting really annoying to have to hear about all their hot start. Like they got to be taken down a peg, and I'm hoping they get to 5-2 this week. But we can talk
I
about that later.
I
For me, that was a bad performance by Jalen Hurts. I mean, that last interception was not.
that was a terrible.
That was a
interception.
terrible interception.
The first two, if you're an Eagles fan, you can live with those. But then that last interception was just brutal,
I
especially
mean,
since it lost them the game.
off one foot, and there it wasn't obviously one guy got the interception, but he threw that right into double coverage.
Yeah,
You know, and then even the last throw after the interception, they were trying to come back on fourth down. You lob it. Of course, the the receiver, I think it was Devontae Smith, knocked it out of the other guy's hands. That could have been a fourth interception, though.
yeah. It honestly, I doubt that it was intentional, but it was technically the right play to not intercept the ball there.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean the game was won either way.
Yeah. that was a
You know,
gutsy
they
comeback.
they brought up, I forgot who was calling the game. It was someone in Mark Sanchez, but they brought up a graphic, and I actually think it's a pretty good one. They compared Jalen Hurts to Russell Wilson, like Seahawks Russell Wilson in his first 2 seasons. And honestly, I kind of feel like that's a good comparison for the two, you know? They're
Yeah, I
both
could see
kind
it.
of shorter running quarterbacks who got drafted later, but got drafted to these great teams. That's kind of how I feel about Jalen Hurts, you know?
I think he'll have a. I've become like just because of like the opposite, like everything around me. I've become like the world's biggest Dolphins hater. Obviously they're in my division, so I don't want them to succeed. But
Yeah.
I think that the Eagles are going to humble them, and it won't be good. It'll be like 35-20.
Well, I guess we can get into that later, but I'm going to disagree with that. But man, I'm really sorry as we get into the Giant game. You guys did us a good favor. I'm really sorry we couldn't return
It's
that.
okay.
Cuz man, that was tough cuz we would have put you in second cuz you would have had the tiebreaker.
It's all right.
Giants just suck. What can I say? I mean,
You could
on
blame
one
you could
on
blame
one
the
hand,
refs.
yeah, you can, but I don't want to do that cuz you got to get in the end zone.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't, like you have 2 chances at the end of the game on the 1-yard line. You got to punch it in at least once if you want to win a game. So I wasn't even really that mad with the refs. I was mad at the Giants' terrible offensive line, which allowed like 3 sacks and yet probably had its best game of the year. Um, you know, Brian Daboll, I think, is a great coach, but that clock management at the end of the first half was unacceptable. And it's unacceptable that we got a tremendous performance from our defense. We didn't get any sacks,
Yeah.
but we were on Josh Allen the entire game.
What's the rookie corner's name again? The
Banks.
Banks. Yeah, he was playing really well that game.
Banks has been really good so
Yeah.
far. I don't know if he's been defensive player or defensive rookie of the year good, but he's like a notch under that right now
Yeah.
for me. Micah McFadden, who is this linebacker we found in the 5th round last year, he's balling out.
He had an interception anywhere like popped up and he caught it.
Yeah, Okereke has been, I think, a really good signing. He's gotten some heat, but I think he's been a good player for us.
Thibodeau played well too.
Thibodeau's been a
really,
monster,
really good
man.
this year. He's been the Giants' MVP probably.
Yeah.
I mean, there was the kicking fiasco, but I'm on Thibodeau's side for that because I think he was grabbing at his legs first.
Yeah. It really sucks that the Giants defense played so well. And at some point you worry about like, well, can the defense do this all the time? Because if we had won that game, man, we would have been 2-4 going into, New England, Raiders, Washington, winnable games.
Yeah.
But So on one hand, I'm a little more optimistic because we didn't get blown out by 40, which is kind of what I thought would happen. But yeah, it just sucks, man.
I'm completely like going back here, but I just wanted to say one more thing about the Jets. Sorry,
It's okay. It's okay.
I forgot to bring up when we were talking about Jets D lineman, the real star being Bryce Huff, who they are yet to extend
Yeah.
for whatever reason, even though he's leading the league in pressure percentage, and I think he's like fifth in total pressures, more than like T.J. Watt. Like he's been a monster, especially for his snap count,
Mm-hmm.
and they just aren't paying him for whatever reason.
I'll tell you, I don't know if Salah's a great head coach, but he's a great defensive. He's a great defensive mind.
Yeah, I give him a good grade for how the season's gone because he really has to deal with the hand he was given
Mm-hmm.
for on offense, and the defense has been
And
spectacular.
say what you will about Zach Wilson, he did not lose them that game. And
No,
honestly, he actually made a great play on the 2-point attempt, keeping the play alive.
yeah, I don't know. I last week was such a bad week for quarterbacks that like a game where he barely completed more than half his passes and got
Yeah.
no touchdowns was like an above average performance for a quarterback.
Well, hey, there's Giants fans now who are saying Tyrod
I saw that.
should be in, and
Tyrod was that guy for a little bit when a playoff gave the Bills a playoff berth.
mm-hmm.
Then Chargers was after that, I think, or is that before?
Yeah,
After
I
that,
mean,
Chargers
he's just your veteran, knows how to run an offense, but isn't going to lift you anywhere,
Yeah, that clock management was so brutal. It's the second straight week that a New York football team has mismanaged the clock before half and gotten nothing out of it.
And that lost them the game. That
Yeah,
lost them the game,
because they could have gone for a field goal in that last drive instead of the Darren Waller holding.
Okay. I think there's a few other games that we'll briefly go over before we get into
It was such a bad week for football.
week
It was-
7.
Yeah, week 7. This was a brutal week for football. I didn't enjoy any games besides Eagles Jets.
Yeah, well, at least he got that one,
Yeah.
So I guess we can briefly talk on Colts Jaguars for a bit. Anthony Richardson out for the year for the Colts, shoulder injury.
Oh, do you want to talk about there's 2 wide receiver moves today? Do you want to talk about that before or after the?
Oh no, we can get into
Jackass.
that. We can get into that.
I think there was only 2. There was Eagles signing. Why am I blanking? It wasn't it Julio Jones? Was it someone else?
Here, I can look it up for you,
I think
but
so.
there were some moves today, obviously. Here, I'll let you look it up. I'll just briefly get into Colts Jaguars while we're here. Jaguars hang 37 on them. Trevor Lawrence, after a slow start, looks like he's starting to wake up. Jags offense looks like it's waking up.
It was Julio Jones. I don't know why I blanked there. Yeah, the Travis Etienne has been playing fantastic
Mm-hmm.
all year. I had to face him in fantasy last week.
Yeah,
Awful for me, but great for him.
but I'll tell you, it sucks for the Colts, man. Richardson he wasn't balling out, but he was looking like he had a real future.
Yeah, I mean he was looking like maybe the third or fourth offensive player of the year.
Yeah.
Like he was really good. There's like other than basically CJ Stroud and Bijan Robinson, I don't know if there's a better offensive rookie.
Puka too.
Oh yeah, and Puka. There you go.
Yeah.
Forgot about him.
Just sucks. Okay. We're mismanaging our topics here. We're jumping from 3 to 4, but on the Julio Jones to the Falcons, or not to the Falcons, the Eagles.
Yeah, he signed a.
I mean, I don't know what Julio Jones has left, but
it was interesting.
It's a depth signing.
Makes headliners.
Mm-hmm. And the Eagles have AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, so they got 2 guys who are. You're just asking for Julio Jones to be a red zone guy at this point,
Yeah. Basically, I don't think they're gonna have him in on like first down, second down.
Yeah.
like in midfield.
And I mean, the trade deadline is coming up, so you're gonna see some teams making moves.
What's it called? League shattering move. The Jets traded Miko Hardman back to the Chiefs for a 7th-round pick swap. They traded their Hardman and a 7th for a 6th-round pick.
I hope that's not the Chiefs' answer at wide receiver because they have bad wide receivers, and
Hardman was good for them though.
he's
Like,
good, but they need a number one wide receiver.
They got Kelsey.
They have Kelsey, but they need a second guy.
Yeah. Tony was that, and then he wasn't.
No, Kadarius Toney. How many yards do you think Kadarius Toney has? Because if it's over 300, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked.
300's your bar? I think he has like. I'd say he has like. He's been getting beaten a lot by like Sky Moore. I'd say 325.
You know what? I should have put it lower. He's got 92 yards
On the season?
on the season.
Oh shoot! I haven't been watching, or I haven't been paying close enough attention. I
No,
guess
it's okay. I mean,
that's jarring. 6 games in.
yeah. I mean, they've got to do something because you're gonna. I know you got Mahomes, who's Mahomes, but like, what happens when Kelsey goes down? Because we saw what happened against the Lions.
Not good stuff.
So they've got to. Mecole Hardman's fine, but I think they got to go out and get like one of these receivers that's being kind of knocked around on the trade market, like one of those Broncos guys, maybe.
Jerry Jeudy.
I mean, they got to get someone, man.
Jerry Judy's been not too good either. He's been not too hot.
I just don't know who they'd necessarily get out there, you know?
Yeah. Were there any interesting games this week?
The Lions killed the Buccaneers, like I
They
said
did.
would happen.
I think I took the Bucks on that one, which
Yeah.
is not good on my part.
I'm still trying to tell people Lions are contenders this year. They're contenders.
They're more contenders than I was giving them credit for, but I don't buy it still. I still have them in that like tier right below.
I don't know. You saw.
I saw it against the Chiefs. That was really good, and Jared Goff was the best quarterback this week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how.
And their defense is playing great. Hutchinson's a beast.
Gardner Johnson's been playing really well.
Yeah, he's great.
Brian
I'm
Branch.
really glad that he's not in Philadelphia anymore.
Yeah, I want him to be a. No, I didn't actually because we were fine there, but I was upset that I don't know. He was just kind of signed like
Yeah.
really easily for less than I thought he was worth because he's a really great coverage corner.
Mm-hmm. And Jameson Williams is back for the Lions now, so I'm telling you, I would have them number 2 in the NFC, to me.
No.
Only 49ers ahead of them.
I'm taking the Eagles over the Lions still.
Okay.
I'd have to. I get that like people are talking about I don't know. I don't think like Lane Johnson getting hurt sucks a lot.
I don't think this 2023 Eagles team is last year's.
I don't think so either, but I don't think that this 2023 Lions team is enough to surpass what the Eagles are now.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see, man. I mean,
We
I'll
will
tell you one thing. I was wrong on Seattle. I was trying to sell Seattle, and
Didn't buy it.
well, you were good to not buy it, man, because Geno had a really bad game.
He'll bounce back, but
you know, the Bengals are starting to. It feels like they're starting to get back into their later season form. I hate how they always.
they need to pick up momentum fast, though.
They do. I really feel like at this point, I'm just going to expect every year Joe Burrow to start and not look good, and then eventually just kick into it mid-season. Because that's
it's a phenomenon.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, there's no reasonable explanation for it.
But they had a really good game. Their defense had a good game. I still like that Seattle defense, but they're a playoff team, but they can't go on the road to like a Philadelphia or Detroit. I mean, they did beat Detroit, I guess. So
They had a much better second half defense, though. I will give them credit. Their
Yeah.
first half defense was not good at all.
Yeah.
I think Saints versus
Texans.
yeah, Saints.
You know,
versus Texans.
everybody knocks the Daniel Jones signing, and I get it, but the Derek Carr signing doesn't look too good either right now.
No, not great.
Because
CJ Stroud is his first career interception.
yeah,
Which is
that
not-
Saints defense is good, but
I don't get. It's like it reminds me of the Raiders. Like you just see the names on the offense, and you're like, "Wow, this should be pretty good," and then it isn't.
mhm. We can get into a Week 7 preview after this. I want to talk about one more game. We got 49ers Browns. 49ers, Brock Purdy loses his first game of his career, at least that he starts and finishes. Loses it to PJ Walker and the Browns, not even Deshaun Watson.
This was a bad loss for the Niners, but I will say like they did lose. Like both sides lost a lot of pieces. Obviously, Browns didn't have Chubb or their starting quarterback, and the Niners didn't have Trent Williams for the majority of the game. They didn't have they lost CMC in that game, and they lost Debo. But
I'll tell you what,
still
though.
not really an excuse because that was bad.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Browns defense is legit, man. That's a really good defense.
I think that they're doing something like historic with the yards. Like they're doing really well with like holding teams in terms of yards.
Garrett, I mean, Myles Garrett to me is not. I mean, he's good. He's not going to win Defensive Player of the Year this year, but
If the season ended today, I could see an argument for him winning it.
he's like on the ballot, you know.
Yeah,
If you had to name like 5 guys, you'd put him in there.
like when you go on Pro Football Reference, like at the very last column, it's going to say DPOY 5.
Yeah. And Denzel Ward's good. I mean, they got I forget the name of the guy. He's got 3 names. The linebacker for them.
I'm not very experienced with the Browns players.
Browns, they could make the playoffs again. I feel like their offense, the lack of Chubb, the lack of consistent quarterback play is going to keep them from really being able to go toe to toe with like a Cincinnati or a Kansas City, or at least a good Cincinnati.
Yeah.
You know, those top AFC teams, but who knows? I mean, it all falls on Deshaun Watson when he comes back. I mean, this win was good, but if you get Houston Watson with that defense, that's a Super Bowl team. But I just don't know if you're going to get Houston Watson.
I don't think Houston Watson exists anymore.
I don't know what happened.
And I don't really want him to exist, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, I get that. But you know what? Bad loss for the 49ers, but they were still a missed field goal away from winning it. So
yeah. I feel so bad. Did you see that the kicker, the 49ers kicker, Jake Moody's whole family was there for that game?
That sucks, man. Yeah. And he's a good kicker too. Or at least he was in college.
Yeah. They traded up for him, didn't he? He was like a 5th round pick or something.
Yeah, I think he was like a 3rd round pick, actually.
Which is like it's like number 1 overall for kickers.
Yeah. But you know what? I think as we get into Week 7, I guess we can start getting into Week 7 here. A few games that we just want to go off of. I think the 49ers stand an excellent chance of bouncing back. I'll just say that.
Jets bye week.
Jets bye week. You guys can't lose.
Yeah, it'll be nice. I don't know. It won't be much nice. Hopefully we get a good update on Joe Tippmann this week. Mm-hmm. Probably not because they haven't said anything yet, but I can be hopeful.
Hey, man, that win, and that makes that win against the Eagles extra sweeter, is that you get to carry that good momentum in.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, after that, you got the Giants, so you might be 4-3.
I think the Giants losing there would just be a win-win because, I mean, are you hoping for playoffs right now at this point, being 1-5?
If they had won it against Buffalo, I feel like it would have been similar to like the Jets win over the Eagles, which is like you still don't really expect playoffs, but it would have just felt you would have still had the word on your mind, mainly because of that upcoming schedule.
So like at what point I mean I would ask, are you like I want the highest like draft pick?
Well, look, I mean, my thing is like the Giants have been terrible, but you look at the opponents they've played: Cowboys, 49ers, Dolphins,
All
Bills.
good losses, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I'd call them good losses because you got blown out. You weren't even
Yeah.
competitive.
I mean, they count the same as a regular loss.
Yeah,
so
but
nice.
but you know, it's like teams that you're supposed to lose to. You know,
I wonder what the Giants' point differential is. It can't be good.
I mean, I'm kind of there with with the tanking thing. I'm kind of there with just like, man, just give me a good draft pick.
Would you take a quarterback?
It really depends on. I think I said this last week,
I
but it
think you
really
did.
depends on where you're picking.
You
If
wouldn't
you're,
take Penix.
uh, I just don't know if quarterback is the biggest need necessarily for the Giants.
Seems to be a bigger need in offense in terms of everything.
I just want to go to line, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we do lose, I want to see development, right? That's the main thing I want to see.
On the bright side, for the Giants, Pugh got officially signed to the team today,
Yeah.
straight off the couch.
And I think they were talking with Collins too. Lyle Collins.
Hmm.
So we'll see. I mean, there's things to be happy about. You play a good team in the Bills, who admittedly are very inconsistent, but you shut them out through 3 games. I mean, your defense is playing really good. Again, I'll start this week is going to be an important week to show how bad they are, cuz I'm not talking playoffs anymore.
Yeah.
But Giants Commanders, if you lose to the Commanders, then yeah, you're a bad team.
Sam Howell is having a pretty good year so far. Like, not like to the point where it's like Brock Purdy last year, where it's like, where did this guy come from?
Mhm.
All of a sudden, he's a top whatever quarterback, but he's been playing really well.
I just feel like the Giants are one of these teams that has like a nightmare start against good teams, but they've got a really soft schedule. So I don't know if they're going to be picking top 5. I feel like they might have like the 8th or 9th pick, you know?
Yeah, which is still, I mean, this class is crazy. If you want, even like this receiver class is nuts. If you want to
Receiver.
draft receiver,
I still want O-line, man. I want that
Yeah.
O-line fixed. That's the number one problem on that team.
I think, yeah, same thing here for the Jets. I just want them to draft 6 O linemen, and for them all to be Hall of Famers. That's all I want. It's too much to ask.
Man, I don't want to single out Evan Neal, but it would be really nice if you were good.
We were talking about Quinnen Williams before and the like gravity he brings. I think Dexter Lawrence has like kind of a similar effect, and it really showed.
Yeah.
Last week.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Josh Allen was just like, especially in the first half or the first 3 quarters, he was so like hasty to make a play.
Yeah.
One more
thing on the Giants draft pick. I don't know if like the Giants just have so many like holes that I'm not sure I'd even really be mad if they took a corner, depending on who it is, of course.
If they took Kool-Aid McKinstry or whoever.
Like if they get a top corner, I'm not going to be like mad at that. I don't know if it's the biggest need on the team, but I'm not going to be mad at it.
Yeah.
They took an edge rusher. I wouldn't be mad at it because Ojulari can't stay healthy. If they took a receiver, I definitely won't be mad at that.
Thibodeau plus any other warm body would be really nice.
Yeah. I mean, outside of like running back, maybe linebacker, we're pretty good on that front. Maybe safety. Like the Giants could just use anything, man.
Yep.
They just need help. They're 1-5.
They are 1-5, unfortunately.
Joe Shane's got to have a killer draft next year. I'll just say that. But
any office like or any like non-player like people you want gone, like you done with Wink?
No, I'm not done with Wink. I'm not done with anybody on the defense because I mean they've played really good. They played really good in that Seattle game.
Yeah.
a lot of these points, like when the Giants lose 40-0, well, they lost 40-0 to the Cowboys, but they only gave up like 25 of those points,
Yeah, on defense
because the offense
and special
the
teams.
offense and special teams is setting you behind before you've even had a chance to take the field.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's fair.
I think people are saying fire Dable and everybody. Stop it. Like, you're just overreacting.
Yeah,
I do want the O-line coach. That's the one guy I think I'd get rid of because,
whatever he's doing isn't enough.
I mean, this is the worst
Yeah.
offensive line I've ever seen, and I've seen some
Probably.
bad ones.
It's it's been really bad for the O-line enjoyers.
Yeah, but Giants Commanders. Who you picking? Guess we can start with that.
Where is it? Is it in MetLife?
Yeah.
I'll take the Giants.
Yeah.
I have more faith in Terry McLaurin individually than anyone on the Giants, but also I don't know if Sam Howell's so inconsistent.
Yeah.
I think that they could, especially since he's a super young quarterback, like Dexter Lawrence, and like that whole defense could kind of replicate the pressure that they had on Josh Allen.
Look, I'll say this: the Commanders are the one team the Giants always, even when they're bad, seem to beat. But my problem is I'm just scared of that defensive line. I'm scared of
That whole front seven.
Sweat,
Yeah.
Payne, Chase Young, everybody there. I'm just scared they're gonna eat Tyrod alive. Cause
Is Tyrod playing guaranteed?
yeah, Daniel Jones is out.
Is Saquon playing?
Yes.
Okay.
Andrew Thomas being back would be nice. I don't know if he is though.
Andrew Thomas needs to come back. I'm serious about the MVP thing now. It was a joke like 4 weeks ago when I made it, but it's only gotten worse since then.
Yeah. He's like he's a monster, man. He single-handedly keeps that offensive line from being the worst in the league.
It reminds me of when Khalil Mack was with the Raiders.
Yeah.
And they were like a top 10 defense, and they were like, we're a top 10 defense. We don't really need Khalil Mack. And then he went to the Bears, and the Raiders were the worst defense.
TJ Watt's kind of similar to that with Pittsburgh, where
Yeah.
like when he was out last year, they were one of the worst teams in football, and they couldn't get any pressure. And then he comes back, and they start winning. All right, I guess I'll go Commanders, but again, I don't feel great about picking a team that lost to the Bears by like 30. So
I also don't know. I mean, it's like it's unfortunate to say, but I don't know. Like McLaurin's been dealing with some health stuff. I don't know how he feels about playing on turf, especially MetLife turf.
I mean, if he's out, that would be a big loss for them.
I just mean like in terms of like, I don't know if you're McLaurin and you're like, are you really going to like dive for that like 8-yard catch versus the Giants on MetLife turf? Like instead of just like, oh, I couldn't make that play. I was covered.
I heard it might be raining too. That would affect. I think that would actually help the Giants because
I mean
that would limit passing.
Yeah, neither team would be able to catch anything.
And the Giants, it's going to be a low-scoring game, and again, that kind of leads me to pick Giants, but I just can't with that. I just don't think they'll be able to move the ball.
Gano's been good. He's been good for the Giants. He's
been good, but
key special teamer.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
John Michael Schmitz, the center, needs to be back too. He makes a difference as well.
Their rookie. I think it was the second center off the board, right?
Yeah.
So just bad for the most recent center class. Both of them are out. Both the top two guys.
All right, Jaguars Saints Thursday night. Are we both leaning Jaguars?
Is it at Saints?
Yeah.
I'm leaning Jaguars, but I keep thinking this because, like, if you, like, just take everything in a vacuum, you have Alvin Kamara, you have Jamal, you have Chris Olave, you have all these great offensive weapons, and Derek Carr, who's not great, but he's not awful.
Yeah.
And they have a really good defense. So, like, every time I think of the Saints hypothetically, I end up picking them, and then they lose by, like, 12.
I'm going to pick Jacksonville. One worry for me with the Jaguars is their first overall pick from I think it was 2 years ago. Trayvon Walker has 1 sack this season.
He's been upsetting.
He has been upsetting, and the three guys who were picked after him, right?
Yeah.
Hutchinson, Sauce Gardner, and Kayvon Thibodeau.
Not good for them.
So,
Actually, wait. I don't know if those were. Was it? I don't think. Okay, no. I think Sauce was 4, I believe.
There might have been someone else.
I think.
But I'm saying those are 3 of the guys that you could have had.
Yeah, and that's just on defense.
You
also have Tariq Woolen in like the 5th round.
Yeah, I'm saying of guys you could have taken first, though.
I feel like everyone at the time knew Hutchinson sort of gone first, but he was just
even Thibodeau could have gone first.
I don't know.
I'd rather have those 3 guys than Trayvon Walker.
Yeah, Trayvon Walker was just such a physical freak that they took him over Hutchinson.
It's those combine guys.
Combine guys have been very inconsistent.
John Ross of defense,
Yeah.
I got Jaguars.
Or the Zach Wilson of defense, if you want to look at it like that.
Oh, yeah, him too.
He's
him
a combine
too.
guy. He's not as bad as Zach Wilson. He's still a good player.
Yeah, he's fine. He's just like, it's just not what you want. When you get a number 1 pick, you want like Sauce Gardner, right? You want like
or Hutchinson, or I would easily take Thibodeau over him. But yeah, I don't know.
All right, I guess we can go through some of these pretty quick. Raiders, Bears. We're picking Raiders, right?
I'll take Raiders, but I don't want to. I'm not watching that game under any circumstances.
Terrible game. Garoppolo's probably out. Fields is probably out.
Is that Thursday Night Football?
No, that's Sunday. The Thursday game is Jacksonville, New Orleans.
Okay, I was gonna say if that's Thursday Night Football, Amazon needs to get their money back.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that Jaguar Saints might be the best Thursday night game of the year so far.
Holy, they have been just not worth it.
Yeah, I don't really.
Did you watch Chiefs?
No.
Broncos.
I gotta be honest. I don't really watch Thursday night that much. I watched Lions Packers, and that was about it.
The only value that Chiefs Broncos gives me is that they're the only rivalry more one-sided than.
Jeez, yeah. Oh my God.
The Patriots, Jets.
Oh goodness.
They lost 16 straight. We've lost 15 straight.
Yeah.
It's one more.
Let's see. Falcons, Buccaneers.
Desmond Ridder was so bad. I'll take Bucks.
I'll take Tampa's. To me, that division's just bad. So like,
let Baker cook.
I could see Tampa's gonna win that division probably, and like they're not. We saw it against the Lions. We saw it against the Eagles. I've been trying to tell people this. They're not a good team.
I don't. Nope. I think they are. And good. At the very least, better than the Falcons.
Yeah. Well, okay. That's.
I don't see who on the Falcons is stopping Mike Evans.
I just don't think they're very similar to last year's Buccaneers for me. Just swap a old Tom Brady with Baker.
I would take last year's Buccaneers over this year's Falcons too.
Yeah. All right, Browns, Colts. No Deshaun Watson, but you got to go Browns, right?
This game, I'm not watching this game either.
These are the 1 o'clock games, man.
Yeah.
So.
I'll take the Colts. Zach Moss is that guy.
You'll take the Colts, even though they no Richardson.
Sure. I don't know.
Okay.
Gardner Minshew can't throw 3 picks again.
I'm going Browns. I'm going Browns in a low-scoring game.
It'll be like 7-6.
Bills, Patriots. Dear Lord, the Patriots are horrible.
Would love it if the Patriots won this game. This will be like the first time in a while I'll be rooting for the Patriots. If the Patriots win this game, then the Jets can surpass the Bills, and the Patriots probably don't get Caleb Williams. That is my dream scenario.
Are we in Caleb Williams watch for the Patriots now?
I am.
Wow. It just feels weird to say that, man, because
week 6.
I was born in 2002.
Yeah.
And they've been good all my life, and I'm 21. So It's crazy. They've at least been like okay. Like even the Cam Newton year, they were like 7-9. So that's crazy to me.
It brings me some joy.
Are you going Patriots though?
Yeah, I would like for them not to get Caleb Williams. I want them to be. My ideal scenario is that they are just like the Saints from last year, like
Yeah.
7-10, not a good draft pick, and then no playoffs.
It's hard to see that Patriots team getting 6 more wins though.
No, so I'm just gonna hope that they win this one.
I got the Bills waking up. They lost to the Jaguars. They won, but it felt like a loss to the Giants. I think this is your Bill. Like every 3 or so weeks that you get that like bomb game they have where they go for like 40 against someone. I
Yeah.
got this being the game. Josh Allen always eats against the Patriots. I think they'll win this game.
Yeah,
Okay, the only 1:00 game that's kind of worth watching, Lions Ravens.
I got the Lions, and you have to root for the Lions because I need the Ravens to not be good.
Yeah, well, you're in
We're in the hunt, I guess.
you're in the hunt now, man.
A little bit. We got to the toughest part of our schedule, so now there's actually a chance.
I got Detroit because they're one of the best teams in the league.
Justin
And-
Tucker's MVP too. Like,
Yeah, he's
what do you have, like 6 field goals last game?
he's fantastic too.
Lamar has been not Lamar.
I just don't know if the Ravens do anything great outside of Lamar Jackson, outside of his legs.
Yeah.
Like
Outside of-
Odell's been
outside of the bottom half of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Odell hasn't been great. Their defense is kind of like meh, which is surprising because they always have a good defense.
Mark Andrews has been serviceable.
Their offensive line, I personally think, is not good. I think Lamar Jackson just kind of makes them look good. When you got a running quarterback,
I think they're above average. I wouldn't say they're good, but I wouldn't say they're okay. I would say they're right in between.
yeah. I got Detroit in a close one, though.
I got Detroit in like 30-21 style fashion.
Yeah. Cardinals, Seahawks. We both got Seahawks, right?
I think the Cardinals can do it again. Maybe. I don't know.
Man,
They beat the Cowboys. I feel like they could beat the Seahawks.
This one's on the road, though.
I don't know if the 12th man changes it that much. Joshua Dobbs is clutch.
So you're going Cardinals?
Nah, I'm going Seahawks.
Because they got blown. The Cardinals lost by like 50 to the Rams. So
Yeah.
speaking of the Rams Steelers, big game for both teams. Both teams in the hunt, but not really viewed as contenders. Who you got in this one?
I got the Rams.
I'm gonna go with the Rams too.
The Stafford Cup connection's back.
And now they got the Stafford, and now they have Cup and Puka Nacua.
Yeah. It's like an upgrade over 2020 OBJ
Yeah,
or 2021 OBJ.
and you probably need the Rams to win this one too, because the Steelers could, they're one of those wild card teams.
Yeah.
Chiefs, Chargers.
I got the Chiefs.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs too.
I can't ever root for the Chargers. I don't know. It just doesn't work.
And there's another team you need to. The AFC has a lot of like really meh teams, like the Jets, the Chargers, the Steelers.
Yeah. I think we're ahead of the Chargers though now. I think they're 2-3.
Yeah. I just don't know. Speaking of, not doing it, I just don't know if the Chargers do anything well outside of Justin Herbert.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Packers, Broncos.
Not watching.
Broncos.
Russell Wilson had like the worst. Like his last game was worse than like he's been playing better for the majority of the season, and then this last game it was like the nightmare all over again. From last year. He had less than 100 yards and 2 interceptions.
The Broncos are on number 1 pick watch. I think the Packers, even though they're not great, I think they win this one.
Yeah. As long as Quay Walker doesn't push anybody over, I don't think Russell Wilson breaks that defense.
We'll jump around a bit. Just get the Monday night out of the way. 49ers, Vikings, no Justin Jefferson.
Oof. I will take the Niners.
I will too. And the last game, and this might be the most contentious, Dolphins, Eagles,
Taking the Eagles.
taking the Dolphins.
Nope.
So
Here's-
why are you taking the Eagles? Because again,
I
like
think-
the Eagles are a good team. I'm not trying to say they're not.
The Eagles are taking this loss like the good organization that they are, and they're going to. I don't remember. Is it in Miami?
It's in Philadelphia.
It's in Philadelphia, so they're gonna defend home. I think I don't see who on. And actually, no, they do have a pretty good D line, but I still think the brotherly shove is gonna come back. And
Do
I
they
don't
do
know.
that against you guys?
No,
No?
not really. They might have attempted it once, but they were getting like so bombarded, like they didn't even go for it.
Well, the one way to stop that is to have like Quinnen Williams, basically,
Yeah.
or like a Chris Jones. You got to have someone who's just like. It's hard to push Jason Kelsey, but you need a guy who can do that in order to stop that.
I think what the Dolphins have done so far has been very impressive, but it is being a bit overblown, and I think it's going to hit them hard because everyone knows that the AFC East has an incredibly difficult schedule. All the teams in them do. We knew that before the season started. Like, I think that the 3 hardest schedules that they ranked were like Patriots, Jets, Dolphins. And the thing is, the Dolphins got all their easy matchups out of the way in the first 6 weeks. They faced one team that, as of this moment, has a winning record, and they only faced 2 teams that, as of this moment, have multiple wins. They beat the Chargers by 2 in week 1, which is a good win. They proceeded to beat the Patriots, the Panthers, the Broncos with 70 to something, 70 to like 20, or what was it? 70 to, was it
70 to 20.
Yeah, 70 to 20. And then I'm forgetting someone, but another really bad team. And then they lost to the Bills by 28.
Giants. I will say A-Chain is out. He's injured.
I don't see it. I don't see them continuing this like historic offense. Like I get that it's like the 70 points is incredibly impressive even against a really bad defense.
Mm-hmm.
But their opponents have just been so bad. Outside of the Bills, which they lost, and the Chargers, which was a good win.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hear all of that, and I really can't disagree with that, but I just have one name, Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek, I see a lot of propaganda against Brock Purdy saying, how could he be in the MVP race? He's not even the most valuable player on his own team. And Tyreek Hill has just been an absolute monster.
Tyreek Hill is 100 yards from 1,000 yards of the season.
Yeah.
He could hit 1,000 yards in, what is this, week 7?
Yeah. Not even halfway through the year.
I know we're not supposed to give MVPs to wide receivers, but
I would.
And I really like Tua. I'm not a Tua MVP guy. I think that's a little too far, but I think he's a good quarterback. I think he'll get it out. And I've got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle is back. What's that guy who changed his name a bunch of times? The receiver for the Dolphins who's like he was Anderson.
Oh yeah,
and then he was like
Chosen, Robbie Chosen Anderson.
Whatever, man. I mean, he's good. He's not great, but he's a good number 3.
Yeah.
They got enough. I think Mostert's a good running back, and I think their defense is good enough to not have that what the Jets did to them against the Eagles. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, is what I'm saying.
On the positive side for the Dolphins, though, like I'm trying not to hate on them because it's mean, but Jalen Ramsey's working out again, which is cool.
Yeah, that's he probably won't play though.
Not this week, but in general Dolphins news.
Yeah. Yeah, I got I got the Dolphins winning because I think their offense, mainly their receiving core, will go off in this game. The Eagles have not really faced. I mean, they faced the Jets, but the Jets have Garrett Wilson and not a lot else.
Yeah.
They faced who'd they play? They played the Patriots, who have pretty much no receivers. They just haven't played. I don't think they've played an offense like Miami.
And I don't think the Dolphins have played a defense like Philly.
We'll see, man. We'll see. It's a big game though.
You mentioned it that the Jets have Garrett Wilson and not a lot else. If you had to guess, what do you think Randall Cobb's current drop percentage is?
What's like a average drop percentage?
I believe a Packers receiver, I forget who it was last year, led the league with like 10% drop percentage.
Okay, so that's like the worst drop percentage.
Yeah.
So you drop 1 in 10. Personally, I feel like Darius Slayton's drop percentage should be like 60, but it's okay. Okay, I'm going to say 15% for Randall Cobb.
It's 40%.
Jeez, oh my God.
Through 7 weeks or through 6 weeks, he's dropped 40% of passes.
Yeah, well, he's one of those Aaron Rodgers gets, you know.
I think they should put me at wide receiver or whoever's right behind Randall Cobb, put him in, make him a glorified wide receiver coach.
Who's your number 2 technically?
It would be Corey Davis if he didn't retire, but right now it's Allen Lazard. Who's been solid.
You got to get a number 2 receiver in the offseason.
Yeah. Oh, dude, we could have taken JSN. Oh, we could have had JSN.
Yeah, or Addison.
Will McDonald's good though. I hope if he ever gets playing time over Carl Lawson.
Even like I never really got the Dalvin Cook signing either. I would have went and gotten a second wide receiver as opposed to a second running back.
Dalvin Cook has not been too good.
He's at that stage, man.
Yeah. I respect his career, and everything he did for the Vikings, but I would like him to stop getting touches.
Yeah, they released him for a reason, you know.
Yeah.
I think they were hoping to get like a Leonard Fournette Buccaneer situation where you cut a guy and then he ends up becoming a real big part of your offense.
And like his blocking too was supposed to be like helpful. It just hasn't been there.
No, yeah.
I think he's averaging like 2 maybe yards per carry.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Well, at least Cobb caught that 2-point attempt.
Yeah, I think that was just to flex though, because that literally made no difference by any sense of the word.
40% is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And 10% led the league last year?
I think I might be misremembering, but it was something like that. 2022 NFL drop percent.
Your second receiver might be that Gibson kid who had the punt return.
I hope so. I hope they make him an actual part of the offense because he's fast. And we just gave up Hardman, who was supposed to be our fast guy.
Maybe you'll pick up a guy off of like the street or something. All right.
I can't find it. I might be wrong. I don't think I am, but I could be.
It's okay.
Drop percentage wrong. Whatever.
We gotta wrap it up soon anyway. So.
Yeah.
All right. Good show. Good Jets win. We'll see how the Giants do. Whether it's time to
hang it up,
or I don't know. I still wouldn't really. Even if they won, I feel like that's not much of a win, but it's okay. We'll see.
It'd be nice though, just to see it happen.
Eagles, Dolphins. We'll see who's right on Wednesday.
We will.
All right. Well, good show, and
yeah.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.